Okay, so you get married. Mm-hmm. And what are the first kind of things you start practically doing with your finances?
I think the budget was the first thing that it was like, we're going to get on a really
putting
strict
some
budget.
walls in place to control our spending, because if you don't have walls in place, then you just spend
Spend
and
whatever
spend
you
and
feel
spend
like
and spend.
spending.
So we have to have something to bump up against,
Yeah.
you know. But, you know, one of the things that we're always talking about in terms of a budget is it also shouldn't be restrictive, and it should empower you to spend more on the things you actually enjoy when it's done right, you know. So that was a big thing. It's like we created a budget that was tough in that it was pushing us to
Yeah.
pay off this debt, but also was empowering, you know,
Yeah.
in the case of.
Yeah, so when I was like really sold on the budget, like at first I was like, just tell me what to do. I don't want to ever have to think about this again.
Yeah.
And so Bob was like, okay. And you know, we had a couple conversations kind of tweaking things to where they needed to be. Because like he didn't understand that I needed money to buy makeup.
I know, isn't it funny how boys don't know
Like,
that?
look at his hair.
Boys don't
like,
know.
he has had this haircut the entire time I've known him. So to him, he was like, what do you need makeup for? What do you need to get your hair cut for? Like, he just didn't, it just wasn't in
You're
the
making
picture
me
for
sound
him.
really, really smart here, hon.
No,
No,
but
it's
you are
just-
incredibly smart. But it's like if you haven't,
You've
lived-
never-
like Max is the
Yeah.
same. He's like, oh, you need to get your hair done,
Right.
And it's X amount. I'm like, yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, I know. So,
Let's go.
but he was like, okay, so we worked it out, you know. But one of the things I remember happening was, I think we got like a flat tire or something like that, something with the car. And I immediately started panicking. I was like, where are we gonna get this money? Like, I felt like someone was sitting on my chest, and I was just so not
Things were
excited.
really
Things
tight
were
at
very
that point.
tight. Yeah, I mean, we had $45 a week for groceries.
Wow.
Bob would fast some meals sometimes.
I'm so slender.
That's all it took. Yeah.
So he's fasting meals, and then like the car, you know, we've got like a flat tire, and I'm like, well, when you buy one, they want you to buy at least two, and they try to talk you into buying four. And I'm like going through this whole conversation in my head of like, how are we gonna pay for this? And Bob goes, well, there's already money sitting in the account. Like, there's already money budgeted for these types of occasions. And I was like,
Emergency
I
fund.
knew I married you for a reason. So it was not even an issue. And to me, that was something that really freaked me out. And to know that just preparing a little bit took away that fear that was self-induced was really exciting to me. And that got me totally on board with the budget. I had been on board before because I didn't want to think about it. I just wanted to be
Yeah.
told what to do. But this was like, well, what else can we do this to? Like, I got excited about it, you know?
Yeah.
And it took me from being the person who's like, don't put these restrictions on me, to this is actually much more empowering than I thought it was going to be.
So, when did you start seeing the numbers drop? Like, how long?
Yeah.
Because
It-
46,000 is a lot. So
Yeah.
the first year,
lot.
what did that look?
Yeah, a lot on very small salaries too.
Yeah.
Right.
Like we both had very low paying jobs at that point. Yeah, like progress was not as fast as we wanted at the beginning, but you know, and we started when we first calculated our net worth, and it was negative $13,246 or something. And I'm like, oh, this is great. We have a negative $13,000 net worth. I've been working for 10 years at that point, and
Well,
you know, this is
and
what we
like
show
we're
for
so
it.
young, it's like, what have we possibly done to create that big of
Yeah.
a deficit? But
But it was 1 year, and we went positive, and we had a positive net worth. And I remember celebrating and just being like, "This is our net worth is $700. Like, this is amazing."
That's a massive
Yeah.
achievement, though, to
But-
take it from minus 13. to-
yeah.
So that was like the first kind of like, all right, let's give each other a high five. And then it's like, then things really started moving faster because we got our first car paid off, which was a huge victory. And then it's like
Yeah.
one thing after another because it's like it was just so much momentum. And and once you achieve one of those first goals, it's like, all right, this is getting fun. And you start to see the additional freedom that comes from that and the extra disposable income. And it's like,
Yeah.
so then things really started to move a lot faster.
Yeah. And I mean, we made a point each time we paid off a debt to celebrate in some way. Because if you don't have a little bit of motivation pulling you to the next thing, then it's really hard to work through.
But what I love about you guys is like, you're really intentional about celebrating, and you taught that to me and Max too. Like, I remember when we first did your course and we had that, like, our green card stuff. And we paid it all, and I was like, we gotta celebrate this. This is a big deal.
Yeah.
And now it's actually become like, not just in our like in a lot of areas in our home and our lives, like when things happen, like we have to celebrate these wins. Like
Yeah.
these are victories, and it's really,
Yeah.
so thanks.